everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back. And today we're going to be completing our mini series of painting trees with what most tutors will probably begin with, which is probably the easiest that you'll ever do. But I'm going to finish with it, just to be different. And we're going to be doing a clump of trees. I've got no pre-drawing. The only drawing I've done, I'm not even sure if you can see it from there, but I've just done a light pencil line to mark the horizon line. So we are going to go straight in and we're going to paint a gradated wash. Now, if you've watched these videos with me before, you'll know that a gradated wash is the first thing we do to create this is we wet the sky with cleanish water. That's not very clean because I've already been painting, but never mind. The Martian sky, it's got green in it, but hopefully it won't show by the time we're done. If it does, it does. We'll cover it up somehow. But that's all right, you just sort of do what I do, wing it, make it up as you go. So we're going to just go down to the bottom like that, make sure that that's wet by the time we get to the bottom. And then don't worry about that green here, it will not show. So I'm going to pick up some cobalt blue, which I've got on my palette here. Nice puddly collection. I'll show you what I've got on my palette here. I've got a nice puddle of quite wet cobalt blue. Then I've got a mixture of sap green and yellow ochre and just sap green on its own. And up there I've just got a couple of other colours which we'll come to in a minute, and I've just put my brush in the green. That was clever, wasn't it? Okay, let's just wash that out and we'll go again. So this might be a sort of greeny blue sky by the time we finish, but never mind. Let's see how it works out. Oh, it'll be all right. No, that'll be fine. We're going to be covering this with trees anyway, so it won't show. Well, most of it will be covering with trees. So we're just going to pick up some neat blue and sweep that all the way down like that. And if it comes down past the horizon line, that doesn't matter at all. So we'll just try and get rid of some of the bits we didn't want. That'll be all right. We'll get away with that, I think. So what I will do is just wash my brush out a bit better. Pick up some neat blue if I can find a bit that hasn't already got green in it, and just go over that bit. That's all right. And that will, because this is watercolour, I know that looks very dark, but it will dry a lot lighter, especially if we just bring it down like that. Let the paint run out of the brush and it'll weaken. So there we go. I've made heavier weather of that than was absolutely necessary. But if you're still thinking that, oh my goodness, that's a bit too dark, don't worry. What we do is we take a piece of tissue, this is kitchen towel, and we can bung a few clouds in. Bung a few clouds in, that's another technical term in for you. So just scrunch it up like that. And I should have taken my necklace off because it's going to bang against my table, but never mind. It's a bit clunky. So just do that, just dab. Then what we do is we turn it around again. Don't use the same piece of tissue because you're just going to pick up the paint that's on there. And just lightly dab. And then turn it round again. Find a cleanish. And just put some smaller clouds in the bottom section of the sky. Just dab like that. You don't have to be too precise because a lot of this is going to be covered up anyway. Or some of it is. So I think that'll do. It's not really about the clouds, it's about the trees that we're going to be painting. So there we go. And to finish off this little scene, or to make a bit more sense of it anyway, we're going to use the same brush, and this time we are going to pick up green. We're just going to pick up this puddle of ordinary sap green with nothing in it yet. It's just sap green on its own. So I'm just going to wet the brush a little bit more, pick up a little bit more sap green, and just put a little puddle of sap green, a bit bigger I think, into that area there. And we're just going to paint a very plain wash for the grass, like this. Well, that could be a bit wetter I think. Let's just plop a bit more water in there. Oh, that's a bit better I think. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, that's great. So we're going to put some more in there just to get rid of that horrible white paper which a lot of people worry about, but you don't have to worry about white paper. It's not scary, not really. So we are going to just finish off this little bit down here, But again, you don't have to worry too much about this either, because we're going to be covering, well, some of it up. Not all of it, but some of it. And I'll show you why in a minute, or what we're going to do. So there we go. So we've more or less divided our page really, which doesn't look very interesting at the moment, but trust me, it will. So this is where the fun part starts. This is where we make sense of this little scene. Now I'm going, as I've done before, if you've been following my tutorials, I'm going to use my fan brush, but it's going to be the hog hair fan brush. But if you've got an acrylics fan brush, that's absolutely fine. If you haven't got a fan brush at all, use a flat brush, that's absolutely fine. But we are going to be doing a bank of trees up here. But if you use a fan brush, just a little tip, because of the shape, the dome shape of the fan, it gives you a better or a more natural shape to the tops of your trees. So that's why I always use a fan brush, and I always use an oil fan brush because of the texture that it gives you. So there we go. And so I'm just going to dip it in my very mucky water, dab it out. Of course, with these hog hair brushes, you don't want them too wet. So just dab out the excess on a kitchen towel or kitchen roll or whatever tissue you happen to have. And I'm going to pick up my mixture here of yellow ochre and sap green. And I'm just going to coat the brush like that. Oh, sorry. Like that. We're just going to coat the brush, sweep it backwards and forwards like that. We'll probably have to make some more of that up, but that's all right. Not for this bit, but for the next bit. But there we go. And I'm going to have my bank of trees about here. So what we do with this, we stipple with it, we dab. So did you see what I mean about that tree? The shape of this brush forms a very natural tree shape. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just pick up some more of that puddly bit there, and we are going to paint a nice bank of trees. And if parts of it miss, don't worry about it, because what you're actually seeing is you're seeing little bits of the sky through the trees, so that makes it even more natural. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit more. We won't go all the way across, just a little bit, and we'll have a little bushy bit down here. She says we won't go all the way across, and we've gone all the way across. Oh well, it's our painting, we can do what we like, it's fun doing this. So we're going to leave that like that. I'm not going to do any more to that bit, but what I am going to do, because it's left a bit of a raggedy edge, and we don't want that, it doesn't matter, but it's probably best not to have a raggedy edge. So I'm just going to make up or find some more neat sap green with a little water, because we've run out. And I'm just going to sweep across that bit there, just to tidy up that edge where the trees are. So there you go. Raggedy edge disappeared. Voila. That was easy, wasn't it? So now what we're going to do, I'm going to pick up my fan brush again, my hog hair fan brush, and take out a bit more water, because we don't want this too thick. Or we don't want it too runny, I should say. And what we are going to do, I should have put some more. Actually, it doesn't matter. What we're going to do, this isn't what I planned to do, but we're going to make up, because I've run out of sap green, what we're going to do, we're going to make our green, we're going to mix it. We've got plenty of yellow, but I don't want to use all the yellow, because I want to use that for something else in a minute. So we're going to take some of our yellow, like that. We're going to take some of our cobalt blue, which is over there, and we are going to mix up. We want a fairly dark green. Not quite that dark though. So if it's too dark, if it's too dark or too dull, just pick up a bit more yellow. That'll probably be nearly it. Oh, that'll do. That's fine. So we can mix our greens from yellow. Well, one way of doing it is yellow and blue. There are quite a few ways of mixing greens actually. So nice mix like that. And what we're going to do this time, rather than dab like that, we're going to start from the bottom. Don't worry about these splodges, we'll get rid of them in a minute. And we're going to just flick up and paint some really rough long grasses. In fact, we can get rid of those by just going over it. And if there's anything left over that we don't like, we can sort that out at the end of the painting. So we're going to just paint some rough grasses. The rougher the better, because it's supposed to be wild, unkept countryside, this one is. So that's what we're going to do. And then to finish off this little scene, it's a very simple scene, I grant you, but it's meant to be. We're going to just wash out the brush. Again, we're going to wipe out the excess water on our tissue or kitchen towel. And this time, what we are going to do, we're going to make up just a little bit more green, because for this exercise, this one of these final exercises, we need a little bit more green. So just a little bit, not much, we don't need much. So we're going to make up a little bit more green, maybe just a touch more yellow in that. And for this, I need to just wash my brush out again, because before we pick up the colour, we need a clean brush to begin with, or this technique won't work. Now, you may have seen me do this before. If you have, you're going to see it again. If not, you're seeing it for the first time. We're going to do a technique called double loading. And what we're going to do, actually, before we do that, that was almost this week's deliberate mistake. We're going to make this grass a bit more textural, and we're going to use the end of the brush, this bit, the bit that you don't usually think of painting with, before it dries out, and we're going to put some light grasses, quite a few, in among those darks, and it really does bring out the roughness of that grass. So all you do, I know I'm doing this quickly, but all you do is you start at the bottom and scrape up like that. So you start up, scrape up, and we are going to do that all the way along. Not only does it give you a lovely texture and a more realistic grass, it paves the way for the next bit, which is where we're going to put some flowers among our grasses. So it'll pave the way because it'll make it a little bit lighter for us. So we're going to do that. So there is our lovely light grasses. Don't do too much or you'll just go back to white paper. But it is good fun, so you do need to watch yourself, she says. So we're going to do a thing called double loading first of all. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to bring this up to the camera as high as I can get it so that you can still see it. And I'm going to take half of the brush and face it down in the palette and just dab it into the green like that. Then I'm going to spin it over so that the green is facing to the top, and I'm going to dab the other bit, and this time in red like that. You can use any colour you like, but I'm going to use red because it'll be more noticeable. So just dab it out, and then what we're going to do is spin it. I'm just going to, well, first of all, I'm going to put the palette out of the way, spin it round again so that that red is at the top like that. And I'm going to just start down here and just very lightly, don't do that because you'll get some very strange looking streaks. But all you do is just dab, just touch your brush onto your paper and dab. And you get these lovely, lovely bits of red or whatever colour flowers showing through. And at the same time, you still get a bit of green in there. So I'm not going to go any further with that. This is just really to show you the different techniques for painting these beautiful grasses and textures. And as a final touch, before we finish this video or this demonstration, I'm going to take, again, this is a round brush, but once again it's a hog hair, and again I'm going to use it as a stippling brush. I'm not going to put any water on it this time because I want it quite thick. Well, what I am going to do, if it hasn't mixed too much with the green, I'm just going to take a little bit of the yellow, neat yellow, because we need this quite prominent, and just dab it, for want of a better word, into the palette like that. Pop the palette out the way, and we're going to put some little yellow flowers among here as well, so just very lightly dab like that, and so you get this lovely hue of yellow, and it'll just give a little bit more texture. I'll pick up a bit more, I think, and if you want to, you can put a little bit of red in with it. It'll give us a little bit more texture and a little bit more colour. But there we go. There are some flowers among our grasses and our lovely clump of trees over there in the distance. So I hope you've enjoyed this and indeed this series. And I'll tell you what we're going to do just before we finish, if I can get it off, because what I have done is I have taped this down with some masking tape so that when we take it off, hopefully we will get a cleanish edge. So there's a couple of blips there because it's quite sticky, and what I didn't do, I didn't take the sticky off before I started, but never mind. It's not the end of the world if that doesn't happen. We can always paint over it later. So we're just going to peel it away. If you do this, peel it away from your painting so that it doesn't tear into your picture. This was only a demonstration, it's not a real painting as such, it's just a demonstration for techniques. So peel away from your picture like that. And I think, yes, we've just got one more. So here we go. Just peel away from your painting like that. It's also tearing my background, but that doesn't matter. Whoops. And there we go. One clean picture for the use of. So there we go. There is our beautiful background trees and our textured grass with some flowers in it. And there will be a new series of texturals for different types of texture, such as waterfalls, as I say, and brick walls, stone walls. But I'm going to come back on Saturday. I don't usually do Saturdays, but recently I've had a bit of an arty shopping spree, I suppose you call it. And I've got a few new products that I'm eager to try out. So I want to come back and share them with you just to show you what I've got. And a couple of them I'm even going to show you how I've used them, the ones I've had time to play with. So I will be back on Saturday with my arty shopping spree. So I hope you can join me for that, if it's something that you're interested in. And I will see you on Saturday. So enjoy the rest of the week. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day. Have fun. And as always, happy painting. Bye-bye for now.